I'm Louis Kemp, originally from Duluth, Minnesota. I'm the author of the book, Dylan and Me, 50 Years of Adventures. And Bobby and I met when we were 11 years old at the summer camp. And we had many adventures together, which are outlined in the book. So what happened is that's true what you said. And I actually had an arrangement with one of the most prominent publishing houses in the world, in America. And was in the process of editing my manuscript, they kept pushing me to talk about things that were outside the boundaries of what I wanted to speak about. And so I kept telling them, that's not what this book is about. And I'm not willing or going to talk about anything other than what I put in the manuscript. And they said, "Oh, we understand. But they just kept pushing me. And finally I said, this isn't going to work for me. I have to write my book, not what some editor wants me to write. So I pulled it and self-published it. I think he's the only person I knew at the time that had, been a published author successfully. So I asked him for some advice on how to go about writing the book, and he said to me, just write everything down, write your book out and put it in manuscript form, and I'll be happy to help edit it with you. And I said, okay. So I did that, and then Kinky worked with me to edit the first 5 chapters. But after that, he got very busy with his own things. He's a singer-songwriter and a novelist. So after that, I hired an experienced editor from New York to work with me to, make the final copy. But Kinky and I are very close friends. We had him on Rolling Thunder, and he was helpful in editing those first 5 chapters. I didn't contact either of them. Sam had already passed away by that time, and I didn't consult with Larry at all. I mean, this is my story. This book is, I was the producer of the Rolling Thunder Review, among all the other things that the book talks about. So I didn't need anybody to tell me anything. I was there. I put it together. I ran it. So yeah, this all came from me. Yeah. So the person I consulted, who was on Rolling Thunder for that purpose, was Scarlett Rivera. I wanted from her, and Scarlett and I are friends. So what I wanted from Scarlett was for her to tell in her own words how she met Bob, because it was an interesting way that they met. And so I asked her to put it in her words, which she did, and I put that in the book because I wasn't there when they met. But other than that, it was all from my experience. Well, you've probably seen some of the reviews. I mean, the reviews have been very positive and very favorable. As far as people involved, I have heard from some of them who loved it. Got a thumbs up from Larry Sloman, and of course Kinky and Scarlett and many other people. They were, and they enjoyed it very much. It brought them back to the time that they were there with me and Bobby, and it touches a lot of bases for a lot of people. I can't say that there is. I pretty well wrote everything that I wanted to write, and I haven't remembered anything that I didn't remember at the time. I mean, there's things I didn't put in the book that I didn't want to put in the book, but everything I wanted to put in the book, I put in the book. I describe myself as a fish guy, not a music guy, which is true. Because my history, business-wise, was in the fish business, seafood business, on the wholesale level. But I've been to hundreds of Bob's concerts, and of course, I have a great affinity for his music. I have songs that obviously speak to me very loudly, just like other people who enjoy and appreciate Bob's music. I was there when he, during when he cut some of the albums. I was in the studio with him when he cut Forever Young, and I came right after he had laid it down, and he said to me, "Louis, I've got two versions of this song. One was fast, one was slow." He said, "Listen to it, tell me which one you like better." And they and the engineer play both versions of Forever Young. And I said something to the back, "Well, I like them both." And he kind of nodded, and he ended up putting both of them on the record. Both versions of Forever Young. Forever Young's always, since I heard it the first time, it's been one of my favorite songs. I like the wedding song of Street Legal. In fact, I had that song played at my wedding when I was under with the rabbi, and the ceremony was going on. I asked the rabbi to pause for a second, and then I had that song played over the loudspeaker during the ceremony, and everybody was trying to figure out if Bob was there or not. Well, he was on tour during that tour, during that wedding. He was actually best man at my first wedding. So you go your way, I go my way. I like that song a lot. I always found that kind of ring true about life and relationships. Sometimes, unfortunately, it comes to that. Of course, Blowing in the Wind, and from the first time I heard it, I'll never forget. I was in my car in Duluth, Minnesota, listening to the radio, and it came on, and DJ said, "This is, a new song from Bob Dylan, who's from Duluth. Has this new song out that's drawing a lot of attention," and they played it, and I remember saying to myself, "How the hell did he write that?" It was, such a powerful song and deep song, and of course that was just the beginning. They kept coming out of him like water out of the faucet. So Hurricane, I was in the studio with him when he did the redo of Hurricane in New York. That's one of my favorite songs. But the list goes on and on, and it's almost like saying, which one of your kids do you like better? They're also, each one has their own qualities that endears you to them, right? and that's how Bob's music is to me. Bob was a fan of Sinatra, and he wanted to, I think, pay him homage, and put a spotlight on who he was and his music. We grew up, with a lot of music, including Sinatra, and so it didn't surprise me. Well, Sinatra, was popular, but what happened was rock and roll came in, and it kind of eclipsed, that sort of music. Though, it's still carried on among, certain part of the older people. But for younger people like us, rock and roll, took over, and so in the book I talk about the experience the night that Bobby and I went to see Buddy Holly play at the Duluth Armory, just 3 days before he passed away. in a plane crash. So it was like, all those pioneer rock and roll people, for us, music-wise, took over, from the older traditional music like Frank Sinatra and those people. My family on sides came from Poland, and both my parents were actually born in Poland. They both came over when they were very young. My father, when he was 10 years old, with his parents, to Duluth, Minnesota. My mother, she was 13, 14 to Chicago. And, so I'm 100% Polish ancestry on both sides. My blessing all your readers is that they should stay forever young, and that they should do things their way. They shouldn't be sheep. They should follow their feelings and their mind and their convictions, just like Bobby has and like I have, and live life to the fullest on their terms, whatever that truth is for them. But one of these days, if when I'm in that part of the world, if he wants and if you guys want, I could do a book event if you'd like.